All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Panel. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Mike. We're missing Pat right now. He'll be coming on soon. He's currently finishing up his own show. And today we're going to be joined by three guests. We're also missing one of those right now. He'll be coming at some point, not sure when, but right now I'm joined by MMA Propaholic and Lucrative, two super sharp guys. Super hyped to break down this card with them. So I'll pass them the mic, and then we're going to hop right into it. Thank you guys all who are watching right now. Anybody running this back later, appreciate you big time. Prop, thank you for coming on, brother. How you feeling about this card? We got 14 fights to talk about here.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate you having me on as always. And yeah, I can't wait to break down these fights. Got on some early line movement with some unders this week, and think there's going to be tons of violence. Great main card, great prelims as well. So can't wait to break it down with you guys.
And Lucrative, thank you, brother, as always. How you feeling about the card?
Yeah, I'm ready to get going, bro. I've already broke the card down once about an hour ago with the boys in the chat, Chronic Combat Conversation. So I'm about to do it all over again. Got the thoughts off my brain and into the public. So I think this should be a good card, man. This card, I was thinking, is like, there's so many prospects on this card. You know, they got Jack Della, they got Bo Nickel, they got Tyra, they got a couple others as well. So I know there's high lines, -1000s and stuff, but I'm expecting to see some highlight finishes. And then we've also got some really, really good matchups like the main and the co-main. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to watch it and talk about it today.
Yeah, some lopsided matchups, but I'm still super hyped to see a lot of these guys. And honestly, I'm down to see what these new guys could do. Who knows? You know, we always get our upsets in MMA, and -1000s, they tend to choke sometimes. So, but all right, let's hop right into the card. We got 14 fights to talk about, and hopefully Pat and Tim will join us soon. So for the first one, we've got Kirk versus Esteban Rybovich. Kirk, 11-5-0. He's 29 years old, 5'10" with a 75-inch reach. Rybovich, 11-1-0. He's 27, 2 years younger, same height. He is going to have a 6-inch reach disadvantage. And Prop, why don't you start us off, brother?
Yeah, so I kind of taped this fight when Kirk was at big dog odds. He was at +165. I kind of just ended up passing because I kind of wanted Esteban at a lower price. Now the line's kind of gotten bought down on Kirk. He's now +125. On the feet, I feel like it's going to be pretty close. I feel like Kirk can kind of win the moments as he's just moving in and out of strikes, staying out of the power shots out of Esteban. Could he mix in the wrestling? Yeah, but I feel like Rybovich is like way more physical than Kirk. Kirk's moving up to 55. Yeah, he's fought at 55 in the LFA. Pretty sure he fought at 155. I'm pretty sure it was against Swain in the LFA. And he got put in a lot of Kimuras in that fight, which I didn't like because I know Esteban uses a Kimura sweep out. He likes to throw up a lot of Kimuras. Guy's really powerful in the pocket. He closes distance really well. And yeah, the under was like going to be a bet for me, but they're all over it as well. It's like -185, but I think Esteban can kind of like put the pressure on Kirk, but you know, Kirk kind of does have a chin on him, man. Like, I don't feel like it's going to be easy to fold Kirk, but I feel like Esteban round 2, maybe Esteban round 3 could be a look here, but I'm picking Esteban to win this fight, but not a lot of confidence. I don't have a bet on this fight right now.
All right, how about you, Lucrative?
Yeah, I don't really agree with the line movement on Kirk, to be honest. I know Kirk was about a +180 or something. Now he's down to +120, +125. I understand the takes on Kirk. I guess, you know, he's not the worst striker. He'll probably be able to shoot takedowns here. He does like to shoot takedowns and go to the grappling. Obviously, we saw Loic was able to take Esteban down about 10 times in the last fight. But Esteban and Kirk, in my opinion, they're different in the fact that I feel like Esteban is a real tough guy. I think he's a gritty guy. I think he's going to keep pushing forward. I think he's got heavy pace, heavy pressure, heavy hands. And when the going gets tough, I think he gets tougher. I can't say the same for Kirk. I feel like when the going gets tough for Kirk, he might fold a little bit more than Esteban does. So if this gets into some back and forth fight with both fighters, which I expect it to do, both fighters are having their way. I do think Kirk will get some takedowns. I just trust Rybovich way more over 15 minutes to do more damage. I think he hits way harder on the feet. And I think he's just going to keep on coming and coming and coming. And I mean, you know, pause. And I think eventually he's going to break Kirk. Kirk. we started off quickly, boys. But yeah, I think he's going to break Kirk maybe like late second or early third round. So I'll go with Rybovich. And like you said, MMA, if the line keeps on getting bet down, which I think it's had some resistance now about minus 140-ish, I may pull the trigger. I'm still deciding.
All right, so it looks like I'm alone here. I'm on Kirk. You know, for me, Rybovich, he's good, but I don't know how much I rate him just yet. Like, it was a good fight against Yoick. Yoick took him down a bunch. I don't expect Kirk to have as good of wrestling as Yoick, but on the ground, I think he can do more than Yoick would. Yoick, not really a submission threat. Kirk, in my opinion, really nasty on the ground. I really like what I see from him. Prop, you were talking about him being put in some Kimuras by Daniel Swain. First off, he didn't get subbed. Second of all, Daniel Swain, he's actually really good in the jiu-jitsu department. He's kind of trash everywhere else, and he quits like every fight. I don't think he's fought since that one, but his jiu-jitsu is good, so you can't doubt that. Rybovich, if he's going to win this, it's going to be on the feet, I think. It's going to be winning minutes on the feet, keeping it on the feet. Kirk, you know, he hasn't really wrestled in the UFC. I don't think he's even gotten a single takedown other than the Quarantillo Contender Series fight back in 2019. But his wrestling's pretty good when he's using it, and once he's on top, that's where I think he's going to do the real damage. Is he going to sub Rybovich? Is he just going to do it to win minutes? I can't really tell you. I think either is live, but for me, plus 135 on Kirk, put a unit on it. I think he's got a pretty good shot to win the fight. So, and I think his striking's pretty good too. I mean, the output is kind of trash. I don't like the output at all, but in terms of the technique from what I'm seeing, I like it. Keeps it straight, does use his length well. He's got a jab. So I think he's live here. But we could move right along. This fight I'm hyped to talk about. We've got Shannon Ross versus Jesus Aguilar. Ross 13-7-0. He's 34 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Aguilar 8-2-0. He's going to be 7 years younger, 2 inches shorter, and he's got a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Lucrative. Why don't you start us off, brother?
Yeah, so conversely to the last fight, I actually agree with the line movement on this one. I think Shannon Ross didn't deserve to be a plus 180 what he was. So plus 120, it's getting correct at this point. I honestly think the fight could be about a pick'em, man. Aguilar doesn't do too much that impresses me, but I guess he's fairly physical. He will shoot the takedowns. He's got a very good guillotine. That's about the only part of his game that I actually rate quite highly. You know, it seems like he snaps it up on almost everyone he fights. But we got Shannon Ross on the other hand, who, in my opinion, is a bit more of a gritty fighter. I think he's going to come forward, throw a lot more shots. I think he's clearly the better striker. He does close range a little bit worrisome sometimes. You know, he gets a little bit eager, and when he closes range, he's kind of open. He did that to Vinicius Salvador, and we saw what happened there. Salvador timed him, but Salvador just had so many moments to time him. It wasn't great look. You know, Ross just was basically in his face with his hands down for a lot of that second round, and eventually he paid the price for it. But I do think overall he's a better striker, and I do think he's going to win the minutes on the feet here. It's just, is he going to get taken down by Aguilar? Is Aguilar going to be too strong for him? I don't know, man. I mean, Aguilar's one of the smallest fighters for that division. You know, he's a tiny guy. Ross has got a big reach advantage, or at least a big size advantage in general. We can't say that for his last two fights. You know, Vinicius Salvador was a massive guy. Cledsman Rodriguez, massive guy. Now he's fighting someone way shorter who's a worse striker than both of those guys, in my opinion. I think Ross is the side, clearly, to be honest, at plus money. I may bet it myself. Unfortunately, I've done the tape for this one yesterday, so really late. And by that time, he was always like plus 130, where he is at the moment. So I'm kind of annoyed I missed the boat, but I might still play it because, as I said, I think this could be easily close to a pick'em.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, I disagree pretty strongly. I mean, I thought I was going to think that way, and I thought this was going to be a complete pass for me because I don't rate either guy highly. But after doing the tape, I like Aguilar quite a bit. First off, I've never thought highly of Ross ever. Taped him for the Contender Series. He was a freaking favorite there for some damn reason. That was ridiculous. And then against Cleetson, I was yelling off the rooftops that he's going to get finished. The dude sucks. Nobody listened. Nobody wanted to bet it. I cashed. It was chalky, but it worked. I just feel like I've got a pretty decent read on him. His striking is probably going to be better. I think you're right, lucrative there. I mean, Aguilar almost solely just throwing hooks, but he's got power. He goes to the body, which I like, and I don't think he's going to be completely out of place on the feet, and I do think it's going to be the grappling that gets it done. I don't think it's going to be a guillotine just because I don't expect Shannon Ross to shoot. If he does shoot for some reason, I mean, good luck. Then he's probably going to get guillotined. I just don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to get taken down, and I think Aguilar is going to do his work from there. I think he's going to probably win a decision, but I think a finish is super live as well. So I took Aguilar. I played him actually for 3 units because I feel pretty confident here. I really do like him. Shannon Ross, he's also 34. Like, he's not going to be improving all that much. He's not going to be getting better each and every fight. And from what I've seen so far, I just don't think he's very good at all. Like, even before the Contender Series, because you can say he fought decent guys. Salvador's all right. Cleetson's very good in my opinion. But even before then, like, he wasn't super great on the regionals either. So I just don't think he's that live here. If you bet him plus 180, plus 205, I saw, okay, makes sense. But at this point, I definitely don't think he's a side anymore. And I feel like Aguilar, I played him minus 140. I liked that quite a bit. How about you, Prop?
Yeah, so I got in on the under 2.5 at minus 115. So I got on it early. I like the spot. I know Aguilar's never been knocked out or doesn't have a knockout, but it's like when I watch the guy throw, he does throw with power ending intentions in almost every shot. He's not really technical. Pretty sure, as Lucrative mentioned, he's basically the smallest guy for 125. Pretty sure he has the shortest reach for the division as well. So the guy kind of closes distance pretty bad. Like, Ross can definitely get his jab going. I think he will be the better striker at range. I don't really see him shooting a takedown, as Couch Warrior said, but if he does, he's probably going to get guillotined, and it would just be a crappy fight IQ mistake. But I feel like he is going to get tagged here, man. Like, it wouldn't really shock me at all if Aguilar, like, kind of had him up against the fence like Rodriguez did, and Aguilar was just going to the body, because Ross reacts horrible to the body, man. And as Couch Warrior mentioned, like, Aguilar does dip to the body pretty well. I feel like he's going to be stronger in the wrestling department also. So I feel like he's going to have the physical advantage. But if this is on the feet, man, and if Ross's takedown defense is there and he's kind of just moving in and out with his jab, like, this is going to be a close fight. So I do like the under at what I got it at. I don't really know if I'd bet it now. I possibly could be betting maybe Aguilar by decision, maybe fight to end by split, honestly, because I see this fight being really close. I don't really... I feel like if they're going to score it on the scorecards, it's probably going to be like Aguilar getting minutes of control and then Ross just winning the moments on the feet and winning it at range. But I'm picking Aguilar to win this fight, but I do think he's live for a finish, though. So that for me is the under 2.5, and I got it at minus 115 for 1.4 units.
All right, that's a pretty good line. But we can move on to our next fight. Here we've got a short notice replacement and a very, very wide line. We've got Cameron Simon versus Terrence Mitchell. Simon 8-0, undefeated as a pro. He's 22 years old, 5'8" with a 67-inch reach. On the other side, we've got Terrence Mitchell, 15-2-0, 33. He's 11 years older, going to be 2 inches taller. And I was able to get his reach. He's got a 73-inch reach, so he's going to have let me math real quick, a 6-inch reach advantage. I'll start us off here. So look, I think Cameron Simon's more than likely going to knock him out. I played the knockout at plus 100 for a half unit. I think his striking is leagues better than Terrence Mitchell. We know Terrence Mitchell from The Ultimate Fighter. He fought Guy Cara France. It's been all over Twitter. Got knocked out very swiftly there. Since then, he's fighting on the Alaskan regional scene. Half of these guys don't even have a record on Tapology. We know what we know about the Alaskan regionals. Just not very good at all, other than like Jared Cannonier. That's about it. And the guys he's fighting, I mean, he's dominating for the most part, but they suck. They're not very good. I think it was his second to last fight or his last fight. He got a submission. It was a rear naked. He didn't even put in hooks. He was kind of just standing over the guy's back and just put it in there. The thing is, though, out of all of the short notice replacements, I actually kind of think Mitchell's the most live, or one of the most live, because Simon, in my opinion, has a pretty rough takedown defense. It's not great. He's getting taken down against Kim on the Contender Series. He got taken down against Kozlo. Kozlo was actually pretty good in my opinion. I think he's better than Terrence Mitchell and would probably shred Terrence Mitchell. But again, he was getting taken down. He was getting controlled. And forget about the UFC if you want to go back. I remember I broke down his fight right before the Contender Series. He had a championship matchup in EFC. Fight wasn't for free anywhere. My sick ass went ahead and I bought a membership for EFC for a month, and I watched that title fight. And he fought this guy Sindile Menengela, who was 8-7-0 at the time. and got completely out-grappled for like 2 rounds. Completely out-wrestled by this guy Sindile, who I also think was like 35, 36, 37, something like that. And it was not great. He picked it up as usual. Simon gets better and better as the fights progress. Then in round 3, starts killing people. But the wrestling, in my opinion, it's still kind of a problem. So would I be terribly shocked if Mitchell pulled this off? No. I think out of all of them, if someone's going to pull it off as a huge underdog, it might be him. But I just think Simon is very good. I think he's rapidly improving. He's only 22 years old. When he is getting taken down, he's getting back up for the most part. He does scramble pretty well. So I do think he's going to be all right here. And I do think he's going to find that knockout probably in round 2, round 3. So that's all I played. How about you, Prop?
Yeah, so once again, did my early line movement good this week. The under 2.5 was up on Bet Online. I instantly sniped it at -155. I put 2.55 units on it. I mean, I was extremely shocked. I thought it was going to drop at a 1.5, and clearly now it's at 1.5 and it's -175. So yeah, really love the spot. I think Simon's going to knock him out in the first round, dude. Like, I'm reading what LSV is saying in the comments, and he's saying that Mitchell kind of reminds him of Jimmy Flick with that quitting mentality. Like, I don't like, yeah, a little bit, but like, I don't think his chin is obviously as bad as Flick's, but he does give up, and like Cameron Simon does have really good pressure. Mitchell's only been to the 3rd round, I'm pretty sure, once, and it was when he went to the decision, I'm pretty sure. So every other fight, he hasn't even been outside of the 3rd round. So yeah, maybe Simon 3 KO 3 could be a good bet too. I feel like that's a good way to bet him. But dude, I think he's gonna fucking finish this guy in the first round, man. Like, it's probably one of my most confident fights that's gonna end inside the distance, and I'm really happy with the line I got it at. But as you said, dude, Mitchell is live. Like, if he can get takedowns and Simon hasn't improved in this department, like, he could be in trouble. But Kozlov, he does have really good takedowns, and he is a good grappler. I think he's a better grappler than Mitchell as well. And like, only having like 2 fights in like 4 years on the Alaska FC regional scene, like, it's suspect, man. Now he's finally getting tested, and especially on the feet as well. So yeah, man, big step up, short notice as well. So obviously violence is the answer for me here, but I'm picking Simon to win by KO.
All right. How about you, Lucrative?
Yeah, I agree, man. I'll make it a trio. I think Simon's going to knock him out. I think he's definitely could knock him out in the first round. -155 on the under 2.5 is a great line, man. So well done for you for getting that. I'm probably going to end up on the KO, to be honest. I know it was at +100. I didn't bet it when it was. I'm hoping it's still there. I don't know if it is still there, but if it is, I'll definitely be playing that at probably some point today after we get off the podcast.
It's currently -140. I didn't even see that happen. Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, that's when it gets a little bit tougher. But I'll weigh out my options. I'll see how it goes. I'll look at the rounds and stuff like that. But I think Simon's going to knock him out. I don't think it's a particularly hard fight for him.
All right, that's 3 of us, 3 for 3. Hopefully soon it'll be 5 for 5. Have my fingers crossed our boys will pull up. Next up, we've got Vitor Petrino versus Marcin Pracnow. Petrino 8-0 undefeated. He's 25 years old, 6'2" with the 77-inch reach. Pracnow on the other side, he's 16-6-0. He's going to be 9 years older at 34, 1 inch taller, and have a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Prop, why don't you start us off for this one?
I mean, Pracnow, man. Pracnow's tape is just like hard to watch, man, and like just rewatching the William Knight fight, dude. Like, and man, lost 15 minutes of my life right there again. Even watching the fight at the time and rewatching it again, like, the guy threw like 62 leg kicks. I think he threw like I think he landed like 14 punches in that fight. And like, the leg kicks that he was landing, like, they weren't even damaging at all. They were just tapping leg kicks and just trying to add points on the scorecards. Like, and all the kicks were just naked leg kicks, man. Like, if Petrino, like, what he's gonna do is release the hands, he's gonna knock out Pracnow, man. I feel like with like almost like the first 2 power shots, he couldn't knock out Pracnow, but I don't like his cardio either. But the one thing I did find really interesting was, like, I don't know what happened with the Khalil Roundtree fight, but like, surviving Khalil Roundtree made me think a little bit different about him. So I don't really want to play Petrino's KO prop. I feel like it's -160 right now. That's the only book that I like actually see props out for the fight on. I don't really see any value in that line at all. I feel like just parlaying his money line would be the move here, but I don't really want to even do that because
it's striker versus striker. Like, can he wrestle? Yeah, but he wrestled in his last fight, and I haven't even seen him wrestle on the regional scene, so I was a little shocked with that. So, yeah, it kind of showed me that he wants to evolve his game, and he wants to wrestle as well, and he's going to have the wrestling advantage over Pracnow as well, who's just a karate-style-based fighter, doesn't really let his hands go, and when he gets touched, I mean, the guy just folds, man. Like, just go watch him against Sam Alvey. I mean, just running in so piss-poor fight IQ with your hands down, and just getting dropped by Sam Alvey like that, I mean, absolute comedy. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I think he gets knocked out. I might play Petrino round 2, maybe round 3. I think this fight can get over. I don't know if he's going to try to blow out his cardio in the first couple of minutes, because if he does, like, Pracnow could just like leg kick him to a decision and just avoid all the power shots and get the fighter mad, because he does have a lot more experience on his record. But I'm picking Petrino to win by KO in the second round.
All right. How about you, Lucrative?
Yes, same as you. I think Petrino's going to knock him out. Pracnow, obviously, he's had a little bit of a resurgence lately. I think he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights. But we cannot forget the 3-fight loss streak he went on, getting knocked out multiple times. And I think that's going to rear its ugly head here. He's 34 years old. Petrino is 25 years old. That's a 9-year difference. And the difference in the athleticism and the power is just insane. I mean, Pracnow is not going to be able to survive 3 rounds of Petrino, in my opinion. And we saw Petrino carry his power late in his last fight against Anton. I was surprised Anton took that many bombs. Anton has an insane chin, because he should have been knocked out multiple times in that fight. If Petrino hits Pracnow with the same shots, he will go down. And I do think he can hit him with the same shots. I think Pracnow's too slow. He's not going to be able to avoid those shots for 3 rounds. So I don't know when it's going to be. It could be the first round. I'm probably predicting first round, but it could easily be second or third as well. It's one of those ones where I think at any point it could be a knockout. And I do think that eventually it will be.
Yeah, I'll make us 3 for 3 for this one again. I mean, trust me, I wanted every reason to bet Pracnow at plus 200, plus 220. I used to doubt Petrino up until his last fight. And I mean, there's still questions for me. That didn't answer everything, but it answered a lot. I mean, it showed me he could wrestle, which I didn't see much from his regional tape. It showed me that his cardio will hold for the most part. Like Lucrative mentioned, even in the 3rd round, he's still got that power. He's still swinging. He's a good striker, I would say, technically, except once he starts getting really wild looking for that finish, he does kind of lose the technique for a second. He just starts swinging. But the power's insane. I don't really see what Pracnow is going to do here. The only way I can see him winning is if Petrino really, really gasses, and then like maybe the second part of round 2 starts fading and Pracnow could take over. His output's all right. But like you mentioned, prop 63 leg kicks. That's how many he landed in his last fight against William Knight. And he landed like 79 strikes, something like that. So majority of them were leg kicks. And I don't see that strategy working here. I mean, William Knight wasn't answering with anything. Petrino is going to answer. He's going to answer a lot. So I do think he's going to knock him out at some point. And if he can't, for whatever reason, like Prop mentioned, he does have the wrestling, in my opinion, also. I certainly didn't think that was a thing. I bet against him in his last fight against Anton Turkaj because I thought Anton could out-grapple him, and that didn't work out for me. So learned my lesson there. Definitely don't expect Pracnow to be the one wrestling here. And yeah, won't be the dead horse. Petrino by knockout for me as well. And we'll move on to another short notice replacement. Tyra minus 1,000. We got Edgar Charis versus Tatsuro Tyra. Charis, he's 10-4-0. 27. He's 5'7" with the 72-inch reach. Tyra on the other side, he's 13-0 undefeated. 4 years younger at 23. Same height, 2-inch reach disadvantage for him. Why don't you start us off, Lucrative?
Yeah, so this is a look at me. I look like an angel right now, but there's so much sun on me. You can barely see me. Yeah, man. I think Tyra's going to win this fight. I mean, there's no secret here. He's minus 1,000 for a reason. I do think the line is a little bit wide. Like, I wouldn't make him a minus 1,000. I think Charis is quite tough. He's quite good on the feet. You know, I think he's better than Tyra on the feet for sure. His takedown defense doesn't look great. You know, he lost against who was that? Clayton Carpenter on the Contender Series because he got taken down multiple times. Round 2, that was a good takedown. It won him the round. It was a close round. And in round 3, he got taken down there. He has been triangle armbarred, which I know Tyra likes to go to that triangle, and he likes to go to the armbar, and he likes to go to the triangle armbar. So, and I think he got triangle armbarred by a guy who was making his debut. I'm pretty sure I checked earlier. It was like 0-0, which is, that's not a good look. But either way, I do think that Tyra should be a favorite here, but maybe like about -500 or something. I wouldn't make him a -1,000. But ultimately, yes, I do think he's going to get the takedowns. For me, this fight, you can't bet a -1,000, right? So it's really like, is Tyra going to get the finish early or late? Or is he going to go to decision? Because the over 1.5, under 1.5 is around pick'em, around there. And so I was looking at it. Oh, maybe it will go over. I know Tyra likes to take his time. Tyra is really good at offensive BJJ. We know this, right? But Tyra is also quite sloppy, even in the BJJ, right? So he loses position a lot. He'll fall off the back. People will reverse him. He'll get swept. So I do think he has a lot of potential, Tyra, like extreme potential at 23 years of age. But he's still fairly sloppy, even in his wheelhouse, which is the grappling. So for me, I feel like, LSV down there, shout out to LSV, is saying that the over 1.5 is plus money. I don't mind that because I do, like I said, I do think he's quite patient and he could make mistakes. But again, he's so good at locking up submissions that it really only takes one. And if the dude gets submitted by an 0-0 guy, I think Tyra can probably do it at any point with one of his specialty subs as well. So I don't know if I'm going to risk it. It seems more like a dart throw to me. I could see this fight going to decision. I really could. I could see Tyra winning by decision. But I could also see him submitting him in like 2 minutes. So it's a bit of a dart throw. Maybe if Tyra decision's like plus 400, which it probably might be. I don't know. But anyway.
Fight goes is plus 300. Tyra decision is plus 500.
Yeah. That's that. Honestly, like, I am predicting a submission, of course, but if I'm going to play the over 1.5, I'd maybe even just rather just play goes to decision. Like over 1.5, plus 100, where it goes to decision plus 300. I kind of lean that way, but I'm going to say Tyra subs him as my official prediction anyway.
Yeah, I share a lot of the same thoughts. I think Charis is going to be better on the feet. I think Tyra is still very much so a work in progress there. I think he can get tagged. In the CJ Vergara fight, I was running it back, and I was actually kind of surprised he got hurt. And I really wouldn't be too shocked if Charis landed some nice shots too. I think his striking is pretty good. His output is solid. I thought he had a good performance against Carpenter, even though he lost. Carpenter, he was like -300 in that fight, something like that. And Charis showed up. The dude's a dog. He's got good jiu-jitsu of his own. If you look at the Gianni Vasquez fight, I think that was his last one. The submission he ended up getting, like he transitioned like 3 times, and it just looked really slick to me. I don't train jiu-jitsu. I can't tell you exactly, but to me, to my untrained eye, looked really slick. Do I think he's going to submit Tyra? Hell no. But to me, it seems like he's got enough jiu-jitsu to survive a little bit at least. We saw a guy like Candelario who does have good submission defense. He was able to make it to a decision with Tyra, and I wouldn't be shocked. Again, like plus 300, I think that's off for fight goes for a flyweight fight here. Tyra does start pretty slow, not too much of a threat on the feet. He's going to be dependent on the ground game to get that finish. So I'm personally going to look at the over 1.5, and I'm going to be looking out for the fight starts round 2. If they give me fight starts round 2 at like -120, something like that, I'll probably just throw a unit on that and call it a day, because I think most of the time Charis is going to make it out of round 1 here, me personally. The pick will be Tyra by submission, I guess, but I think it happens late. How about you, Prop?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I agree with everything you guys said, so I'm just going to keep it short. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be betting on this fight at all. I mean, as Lucrative mentioned, like Tyra -1,000, like he probably should be around like -500 or like -650. Like the guy does get like reversed. I mean, when you're getting like reversally sprawled by Carlos Candelario, and then like now you're just like a -1,000 favorite in the UFC. Like I don't rate Carlos Candelario that high, nor do I rate his wrestling that high either. And it's like Charis isn't bad on the ground. Like as you said, Couch Warrior, the guy has good jiu-jitsu. Like the guy can sprawl, and it's not like Tyra is like some insanely dominant grappler who like should be -1,000 in every fight against anyone on short notice. Like I understand that this is a huge step up, but like Aguilar did have him in an absolutely nasty guillotine in the first 30 seconds of that last fight. and he was a minus one. I think he was like what, a minus 1,300 he closed that. So, I mean, never say never. I mean, the dog is definitely live here, but I am predicting a Tyra submission. I don't know which round he's gonna get it. Like, what scares me from playing the over is, as Lucrative mentioned, like Tyra's so slick, man. Like, he could get it whenever. So I kind of personally, like, I'm gonna stay away from an over, but like the way I would bet an over here is maybe I would bet the fight starts round 2 instead of betting the over 1.5. And even if you bet fight starts round 2, I would probably take a little poke at a Tyra decision as well, especially if it's plus 500, man. And the guy's a minus 1,000 favorite. And if you think this fight's gonna go over, and especially it being like a flyweight fight with the over 1.5 being like plus 115, and then rating the guy's money line who's minus 1,000 to win by decision at 5-1, like the line discrepancy in there doesn't make a lot of sense as well. So I don't mind that. But I'm picking Tyra to win by submission now. But the value is on the over and his decision prop.
All right. And we'll move on. Before we do, quick update. So Tim Troiano will not make it. He messed up the time zones, and he's not going to be able to make it on. This week's been a mess. Literally everyone has been messing up their time zones. We all got to get it together, but hopefully Pat will still be able to make it, but we'll move on. Next up, we've got a rematch that nobody ever asked for, but we've got it anyways. We've got Jimmy Crute versus Alonzo Menifield 2. Crute is 12-3-1, that one being with Menifield, 27 years old, 6'2" with the 74-inch reach. On the other side, Menifield, he's 13-3-1. He's going to be, let me math real quick, 8 years older, 2 inches shorter, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. I'll start us off. I mean, look, I think that Crute should dominate if he plays it smart. He's got everything he needs to win this fight. He's got everything he needs to get the finish. But I'm not putting my money on bad fight IQ guys anymore. I learned my lesson with Cody Brundage, and I'm done. I'm done doing that. Crute, unfortunately, maybe later on in his career, he's going to start being smarter, a little more trustworthy. We'll see. Right now, I'm not ready to lay any kind of money on him, because if he stays standing with Menifield, I think he might get knocked out this time. And at the same time, if he grapples and he plays it smart, I think he's going to submit Menifield. So for me, no side. I think Crute's going to win, but I'm not going to bet on him. And I parlayed the under with the Bo Nickel under, the original one with Trayshawn Gore. That's gone now. So now I just have one unit on the under 2.5 here. I think at like minus 240 or something. Listen, I don't love the line, but I do think it's going to end under. How about you, Prop?
Yeah, so I'm on the same bet as well. I'm on the under 2.5 at minus 190 at for 2.5 units. I just feel like in the last fight, like Menifield's just rocking him almost every single time on the feet, and then like just deciding to clinch with him, especially like after like getting taken down in the first round, and like after like getting up out of those positions, surviving that nasty guillotine attempt, like right up against the fence, and like after the first 3.5 minutes, like I think he can knock out Jimmy Crute here pretty easily, man. Like Jimmy Crute absorbed, I'm pretty sure it was like 87 of like 123 significant strikes that like Menifield threw in that fight, which is like I don't even know how the hell like Jimmy Crute was actually even like managed to get to decision in that fight. I had the under 1.5 in that fight, and I just remember being like, it was just one of those nights, man. Like, that was one of my worst cards ever tracked on Bet MMA. So, I mean, I'm going back to it here, man. Like, I love the under here again. Like, I think if Jimmy Crute gets him down, he can submit him pretty easy, man. Like, Menifield was moving out of the positions last time, but like this time, man, I feel like Crute's intention is just going to be to get him the hell out of there, man. Not to like eat a lot of damage, because Jimmy Crute, man, like honestly, Jimmy Crute probably has like 5 minutes of cardio in my mind, man. Like this guy can't fucking pace himself. And when he doesn't pace himself, and when that striking defense is lackluster and he can't get the takedowns, man, he kind of just falls off a cliff, man. And the power of Menifield, it's going to translate. So, yeah, I love the under here. I'm on it for 2.5 units at minus 190. I still see it being a great parlay piece at minus 250. But picking to win this fight, man. So close, man. I'll pick Menifield to win by KO. Maybe Menifield in the round 1, but I think he can get it in the first 2 rounds though.
Shui?
No. I owe you no, no,
I had to try.
no,
I had
man.
to try.
I owe you one for tomorrow before our show. Thanks, Kevin Lee, you fucker.
All right, lucrative. How about you, brother?
Yeah, this is a bit of a mess of a fight, but I'm glad they're making it again because it was definitely good entertainment, and it definitely makes this UFC 290 card a little bit more entertaining. I think Jimmy Crute has the tools to win the fight. Like that was clear in the first fight. He just can't move his head off center line, so he kept getting cracked by Alonzo Menifield. Menifield wasn't doing anything special in that fight. It's not like he was feinting really well, drawing out the reactions from Crute and shooting a right hand over the top or whatever. It's just Jimmy Crute was just like face first into his punches and he couldn't get out of the way. Other than that, Crute, in my opinion, was doing really well with the takedowns. He got Menifield down multiple times. Menifield has great takedown defense, but if you can chain wrestle, he doesn't really, I think Crute's quite a high-level wrestler, at least for the division. And so I do think he'll be able to get takedowns here. And I think he can correct a bit more than Menifield can correct. I don't really think Menifield can do much different than their first fight. I mean, what's Menifield going to do different? Like, it's nothing. He's going to want to defend the takedowns and just throw straight shots at Jimmy. Whereas I do think Jimmy can set up his takedowns better. I think Jimmy can fight at a specific pace better. I think Jimmy can stay out of range better. It's just that if he's going to do that or not. I think he can do that. I just don't know if he has the skills. I don't know if he has developed the skills to do that or the fight IQ to do that. But when I'm watching it as an analyst, I'm saying that Jimmy Crute has more of a margin for error in terms of how they can differ from the first fight. With that being said, I don't trust Jimmy Crute to not put his head on center line. I don't trust Jimmy Crute to show, upgraded head movement. I don't trust Jimmy Crute to do any of that. So I can't bet it. But I will outright pick Jimmy Crute to win the fight. I think he's a bit more of a dog. I think we saw in the third round that, he was pushing quite heavily after being completely battered. I mean, the guy should have been finished about 4 times, and he was pushing heavy in that third round. He was getting takedowns and stuff. So I'm going to pick Jimmy Crute, but, I mean, anything can happen in this one.
All right. We can move on to our next one. Let's see. All right. Here we've got Yasmin Uragu versus Denise Gomez. Uragu is 10-0, undefeated as a pro. She's 24 years old, 5'3" with the 64-inch reach. On the other side, we've got Denise Gomez, 23. She's 1 year younger, 1 inch shorter, and she's got a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Why don't you start us off, Prop?
Yeah, so no bet for me here, but I kind of like Yasmin here. I honestly, I know a lot of people are saying that this line is wide. I don't really think the line is wide. I think Yasmin kind of wins this pretty easy, but I think Gomez's durability and her toughness is probably going to be shown here, especially with her dog mentality. That's how she overcomes the adversity and wins her fights. I just don't really see it happening here against Yasmin. I feel like Yasmin's going to keep her at range. She's going to land the more powerful shots, but Gomez is going to try to close range, man. She's going to try to get her up against the fence. She's going to try to dirty box her. And I was on Violence in her last fight against Bruna Brazil. Pretty sure she was an underdog in that fight as well, which I thought was just crazy. Congrats to the people who backed her up as well in that fight. But here I just think Yasmin's kind of the better striker. I feel like she's more skilled on the feet. But does Denise Gomez have more dog mentality than Yasmin? I don't know, but if she does, I feel like that's kind of her path here. But skill for skill wise, I think Jasmine's the better fighter. I feel like Jasmine by decision is the pick, but there are going to be some moments where this fight can end inside a distance. Pretty sure Yasmin has 5 first-round finishes, if I could be wrong. But yeah, she hits hard. She's good in the pocket. So is Gomez. But just capping this fight, I don't want to lay Yasmin minus 400. I kind of saw her point spread, dude, minus 3.5. I saw it at Pick'em odds. I might do that because I don't know, dude. I don't really see Gomez winning a round on all judges' scorecards, man. I feel like Yasmin kind of wins this easy, 30-27, unanimous decision.
How about you, Lucrative?
Yeah, it's a good fight. I think it's going to be entertaining. No matter whether Yasmin wins it cleanly or not, I think the fight's going to be entertaining because Gomez is going to bring the violence. She's going to bring the pace and pressure. I did back Gomez in her last fight. She was like plus 180 or something. I think around there, maybe even higher. I can't remember what I got, but
I think even higher.
Yeah. I think it was like 205 maybe. But yeah, I mean, it was obviously a stupid line, but that's predicated on Gomez just walking forward, throwing heavy shots. She's definitely got heavy hands. She will need to get into range here. She's not going to win an outside kickboxing fight. I think Yasmin's going to win that all day. So she's going to maximize her win condition. We know that for a fact. She's going to walk into range and just throw heavy leather. She's going to try and win. So for that reason, I wouldn't be laying minus 400 in a striking fight. You know, it's not really my style. I mean, she could probably go for the takedowns. I think Yasmin's quite a good all-rounder. You know, she seems decent on top as well from what I've seen. But she has been wobbled a couple times in her 2 UFC fights already. So I'm not ready to back her. She's only 23, 24 years old, but I do think she's the real deal. I think she's a legit fighter. I think she has top 5. You know, I think she will reach the top 5 at some point. But Gomez is young as well. She's 23. I think she's younger than Yasmin, you know. So the chick's young. So they're both going to be improving. I think it might be a barn burner, honestly. I feel like it could be similar to the Lucindo and the Estella fight, where like Yasmin gets hurt early, or it's looking like Yasmin's not a minus 400 or not a favorite early, and then she kind of just comes back to clearly win it. I could definitely see her getting a finish a little bit later as well. But yeah, my pick is Yasmin.
Yeah, so I actually also think that Gomez can kind of make this look similar to the Lucindo fight. I feel like the styles are similar, and I just feel like Gomez, she's the type of woman, she's going to bring the brawl. She's not going to let Uragu get the clean fight that she wants. She's not going to give her just a fight at range. There's just no way. She's not going to do that. She's going to push her up against the fence, fight in the clinch, probably try to get takedowns. And at plus 375, I couldn't pass it up. I threw a half unit on it. I think that's a great line. I mean, look, Uragu's minus 400. Is she going to win this fight 8 out of 10 times? In my personal opinion, no. I don't think so. I think it could have been lined something like minus 250 maybe. Somewhere around there. I think minus 400, even now, like Gomez is what, plus 3? Plus 300. I still think that's playable. Like, I really think that she's very live. I think that she's going to make this nice and grindy and just not give Yasmin the fight she needs. Yasmin's striking is fantastic. She's a really good striker. She's also very young, going to be improving, well-rounded. But like Lucrative said, Gomez is also young. She's actually 1 year younger. And I also think she'll be improving as well. I understand she got completely out-grappled by freaking Loma. But look, Loma and Uragu are 2 very, very different fighters. Not the same person, not the same styles. And I don't expect Uragu to come out here and completely out-grapple Gomez. I think if someone's going to be wrestling, it's probably Gomez here. So for me, plus 375, no question. I put it half unit on Gomez, and I do think she can pull it off. But we'll move on to this fight that for some reason is happening. We've got Jack Della Madalena versus Josiah Harrell. I mean, I'm happy to have Jack Della on the card. Jack's 14-2-0. He's 26 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. Harrell, he's 7-0, 24. He's 2 years younger. He's going to be 5'7", so he's 4 inches shorter, and he's giving up 6 inches in reach. He's a career lightweight. He's coming up for welterweight for the short notice. Lucrative, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, Jack Della. I haven't taped the opponent. I taped Trayshawn Gore, and no, not Trayshawn Gore. I haven't taped Bo Nickel's new guy either, but I haven't taped this new guy either, so I can't say too much, man. But obviously, minus 1,000 Jack Della is going to be my pick.
Shocker. Gonna put 10 units on it, Lucrative, to win one?
I mean, he's actually minus 950 on my book, so I might put 9.5 to win one.
Good bet, man. A lot of value there, but yeah. I taped Harrell. He's okay, and he could be in the lightweight division of the UFC and maybe find some decent success. I don't think he's ever going to be a top 15 or anything like that, but yeah, I don't know what the hell he's going to do to Jack. He's going to have to land some kind of crazy shot, and I don't think he has it in him. I don't think he's going to knock out Jack, and I think Jack's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants in this fight, honestly. I think he's probably going to knock him out. It's completely unplayable. His knockout's like minus 275. His ITD is like minus 450. You can't do anything with it. So I'm going to stay off in terms of bets, but I think Jack's going to kill him. How about you, Prop?
Yeah, once DraftKings and FanDuel or BetRivers opens his finish prop, I'll probably just end up parlaying him inside the distance. So yeah, I obviously, I mean, JDM -1,000 favorite, Harrell stepping on short notice, coming up to 170. Guy just fought, I'm pretty sure, 3 weeks ago. So yeah, man, JDM all day, man. I don't know what, probably in round one early. I mean, the guy's striking is just on another level, man. And I was on Brown in the last fight when Brown was plus 260. I mean, looked good about for a minute and a half or so until Randy Brown just looked like an absolute meme. But yeah, man, I didn't think JDM had it in him to choke him out. I was pretty impressed with how fast he was able to get that rear naked choke as well. So hey, man, maybe he gets a club and sub again here. You never know. But yeah, I think a knockout's more than likely here, and it's probably going to be in the first round.
You remember how many people were betting submission only on Randy Brown?
Dude, I saw it. I know someone who had 800 on the submission only. I think it was when it was at plus 200 when it first opened, right?
Nah, I think it opened at close to pick'em, something like that, and people just abused it.
Yeah,
And
man.
look how that
Paid
turned
for
out.
it, man. Oh,
Terrible. But all right, we can move on to the next fight. For this one, we've got Robbie Lawler versus Nico Price. Lawler 29-16-0. He's 41 years old. 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. Nico Price 15-6-0. He's going to be 33, so he's 8 years younger. 8 years younger. 1 inch taller, 2-inch reach advantage for him. I'll start us off. So I'm going to pick Nico Price just because he's younger and he's not the one retiring, and I think he could bring output and he's still going to carry power. But I was really tempted to bet Lawler at plus 220, wherever it's at, plus 200. I low-key think he's really live. I think that he's still got his striking. He goes to the body really nice. In the Barberena fight, I thought he was looking good till he got melted. If he didn't already say he was retiring, I'd probably have a half unit on him, but I'm not going to bet on a retirement fight, and he's also 41 years old, so I think it's a good pass. I definitely don't suggest parlaying Nico Price or doing anything like that. He hasn't looked amazing either. He's only 33, but in terms of his fight trajectory, I think he's starting to come on the way down as well. So I don't see him destroying Robbie Lawler personally. I think it's going to be close. I think there's value on Lawler, but I can't get there at 41 years old and on a retirement fight. How about you, Prop?
yeah. So dude, I kind of agree with you, man. I thought before taping this fight, I'm all right, I'm parlaying Price. And then I'm watching the tape and I'm like, dude, when Robbie Lawler is going to be fighting in Southpaw, man, he's going to be fucking up Price, man. Especially when he's walking him down. I don't like how Price reacts to Southpaw fighters. I feel like that's when he really struggles. Even against Alex Oliveira, man, Alex Oliveira was hitting him with some clean shots, even in the third round, and Price just slowed down really badly. He had a lot of output in his last fight, man. I mean, he did throw, I'm pretty sure, over 300 significant strikes he threw over 120 something in the first round. So his volume's going to be there. But, dude, Lawler still is packing power, at 41 years of age, too. And, when you're looking at this guy's Instagram too, it's the guy's still training. He's still in pretty good shape. It's not like the guy's not training. He's not Donald Cerrone, filming movies. This guy's taking this shit serious, and it's his last fight ever, man. And Price is gonna give him the fight. But dude, on a betting perspective, I think this is gonna be a 15-minute war, man. I think this is gonna go to decision. I don't really Nico Price kind of starts pretty slow too. I don't really think he's a fast starter. I don't really see Lawler blowing out his cardio, and even in the second round, he was using his jab way more against Barberena and was stunning him a lot. But then Barberena was bringing the pressure, and then that's when Lawler kind of lost his composure and then stopped utilizing his jab, and then that's when kind of Price just kind of broke him down. But I mean, that's when Barberena broke him down. I feel like that's going to be Price's intention here, but as the fight moves on, but dude, I like the over 1.5 at -145. I feel like it's a sweat, but I don't think that Lawler's only been knocked out 3 times. I understand he's 41 now, but Price isn't really a guy. I don't think Price is gonna go out there and kill him in the first round. Nor do I think Lawler knocks him out in the first round either. I see it being a 15-minute war going to decision, but I think the line is wide, but I'm picking Price to win this fight, but I'm picking Price to win by decision. But Lawler's definitely live, man. He's gonna have a puncher's chance early, but I just don't see him knocking out Price. I know Price has been knocked out 3 times, but I don't think Robbie can really I don't think Robbie's gonna exploit his gas tank like he did against Barberena. I feel like he's gonna take this one a little bit more conservatively and try to win his last fight.
Yeah, I kind of like that over 1.5 also. I don't know if I'm going to get there at -145, but it's interesting. How about you, Lucrative? What are you thinking? Oh, sorry, Prop. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I just really never bet overs. I've only bet pretty sure 15 overs on Bet MMA. I'm 12 and 15 on them, so I mean I'm good on them. But
There you
I don't
go.
know, man. It's a little sweaty though. I don't really know if I got the balls for it, but I like the price of it. I might get there.
What are you thinking here, Lucrative?
I think Nico Price knocks him out. You know, Nico Price has heavy hands. I know he hasn't got a knockout in a while. Last guy he knocked out was James Vick. That was an upkick KO. Obviously, we know Vick is extremely durable, so that was obviously an impressive knockout. That was satire, but yeah, MMA prop knows. But obviously, I think in this fight, it's such an easy. I don't know, man. Robbie Lawler's 41 years old. He's clearly on the downtrend drastically. He was getting touched up by Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz didn't even train for that fight. Came in overweight. He ended up finishing Nick Diaz. I bet him in that fight fairly big at -170. And I was like, oh my God, Nick Diaz might stop him. He landed 10 shots in a row. Robbie gets hit and then he just stands there. He never used to do that. So now he gets hit and he just stands there. It's kind of like he forgets to move after he gets hit, after he gets stunned. It takes him a second to realize what happened. So I think all it's going to take is one good shot from Nico Price. Maybe I'm shocked. Maybe Robbie has better durability than I think still at this age. But I do think his durability is going at this point. And I think Nico Price is not a good guy to fight against if your durability is going. You know, you want more of a volume strike. I mean, Brian Barberena, I know it was mainly a pace and pressure finish, but Brian doesn't finish that many people. I mean, you know, it's not a great look to be finished by Brian Barberena, in my opinion. So, yeah, man, I think Nico Price probably going to finish him.
All right. We can move on to it's going to be a super close fight. We've got Bo Nickel versus Val Woodburn starting off our main card. Bo Nickel 4-0, undefeated, 27 years old, 6'1" at the 76-inch reach, -2,500 favorite. Val Woodburn 7-0. He's 29 years old, 5'8". He's gonna be, what is that, 5 inches shorter, and I don't have his reach. Prop, why don't you start us off, brother?
Yeah, Bo Nickel money line. Bo Nickel money line. Nah, but
50 units to win two.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you can't do anything with this fight, man. I mean, I guess maybe just Bo Nickel's KO when the prop comes out, maybe because the bookies always tend to put his sub over to KO pretty highly, but I don't know, dude. I'm pretty sure he just takes him down, he subs him. I mean, I haven't watched tape on this other guy yet, because I'm still pretty pissed that Gore backed out. I had the under 1.5 and -140, so kind of had me a little bit angry, but yeah, dude. Now the Bo Nickel under 1.5 is -400. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just not doing anything here, man. I mean, he should go out here and dominate this guy, man. Probably a round 1 sub, but yeah, I don't think this gets out of the first round, man.
All right, how about you, Lucrative? You on the dog here?
I haven't taped him, so who knows? I might still be. Maybe by the end of this day, I will be, but I highly doubt it, considering the betting line, you know. But I mean, maybe that's the reason I will bet it. So I think, have you done tape, Couch, or not?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so you can give us a little bit more insight. But Bo Nickel is the biggest favorite in UFC history. So the last biggest favorite was Alexander Romanov against Chase Sherman. He was -2,300. So Bo Nickel has beat him. He's -2,500. So if he loses here, that'll be the biggest upset in history. He's the biggest favorite in history. So I expect he's going to get another first round finish, but hopefully you can tell us a little bit more about his opponent.
Yeah, so look, I mean, his opponent, he trains at Extreme Couture, good camp, training with Sean Strickland, Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis put out a whole thing about him. I had to see it through someone else because I'm still blocked by Chris Curtis after I bet on Imavov. Chris Curtis unblocked me. Yeah, I thought it was a good bet too. Chris Curtis didn't agree with me though, but he did say one thing that I actually think is interesting here. Val Woodburn, he mentioned it. He said he's very annoying to take down because of how short and stocky he is, because of the center of gravity. And, I can relate to that. I used to wrestle, and I preferred wrestling taller people just because I preferred to work from the front. I wasn't really shooting a lot of takedowns. I was working more off of cement mixers. I really liked the 3/4 Nelson from the front. So for me, taller people were more, I liked wrestling shorter people more. Taller people were more annoying. But for people who shot takedowns, who were shooting doubles, they would prefer a taller, lankier person because there's more of a target, a little easier to take them down. When someone's so short, it's just kind of annoying getting down under there. So he could present some problems. That said, Bull could easily just go for a front anything, pull him down, go for a front choke, finish him that way. Like, he doesn't need a double. He doesn't need a single. He can do anything he wants to get this guy down. So I don't think it's going to be a huge thing, but I guess it's worth mentioning. He's got big power. Woodburn clearly has big power. He's not a technical striker at all. He's winging big shots, big looping shots, and that's probably going to make it pretty easy to duck under the strikes and get that takedown. He defended well against Miles Amos, but who's a decent wrestler, and he's a light heavyweight, and he's very big. But first of all, nowhere near the level of Bo Nickel, and he didn't shoot all too much in that fight, so couldn't take a lot from that. I'm not going to keep going too much longer. Minus 2,500 for a reason. Nickel's going to run through him. But honestly, because I don't think anything's going to be playable on Nickel, I'll probably just look to see what the round 1 knockout on Woodburn is. Because if it's like plus 2,500, I'll throw a 1/10 of a unit on it. I'm willing to do that because you never know. He hits like a train. And low key, I think he's more dangerous than Tresean Gore, as crazy as that sounds. So I think that Nickel's going to dominate, but I'm going to take a flyer on a lucky knockout shot from Woodburn, personally, depending on the odds.
We don't know if he's got a chin, right? We got no idea, do we?
Hasn't been tested. He hasn't really been beat up at all, so we don't know.
He might have a glass chin. Wrestlers are known to be quite tough, I will say that, but it doesn't matter. Like, he might have a terrible chin. I mean, who knows, right? We saw what happened to Aaron Pico. I know it's not the exact same comparison, but like Aaron Pico got rocked in his first fight, then he got submitted, then he got knocked out a couple times later. Like, we don't really know how he's going to face adversity. So just trying to play some form of devil's advocate on the biggest favorite in UFC history here.
Yeah, LSV bringing this up. Pat Downey got chinned. That was a crazy loss. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
Yeah,
the guy he was fighting was trash, and the strikes that knocked him out were so sloppy. But
I had under 1.5 rounds. Obviously, I thought Pat Downey was just going to go through him, and then he tried to, and he almost did, but he couldn't. And he started gassing out, and I'm like, no, it's going to be like a sloppy goes to decision. And then he got knocked out. I was like, Jesus, I got saved there.
That was insane. A lot of parlays died that day. A lot of parlays. But yeah, look. I don't know what you could possibly do with Bo Nickel here. I really don't. We don't have props yet. Like Propaholic said, maybe knockout. I usually like that angle when you have a really good grappler who's very dominant and people could just kind of count out their knockout prop, but ground and pound is literally always there. So maybe I'll look at that if it's something nuts, but I feel like it probably won't be.
Have we got under 1.5 yet?
Yeah, it's minus 400.
What, 1.5?
Under 1.5 is minus 425 now.
Yeah, the books are getting sharp, man. It's not 2019 anymore.
Even then, would they have opened it any different?
I don't know. It's got terrible over the last few years, but we still find a way to make money.
You got to do it, man. But all right, let's move on to something much more competitive. We've got Dan Hooker versus Jalin Turner. Hooker, 22-12-0. He's 33 years old, 6 feet tall with a 75.5-inch reach. Turner on the other side, he's 13-6-0. He's 28. He's going to be 5 years younger, 3 inches taller, and he's got a 3-inch reach advantage. Lucrative. Why don't you start us off here? Who you got?
So I'm always going to root for Dan Hooker, and I'm always going to root for Pat. Pat, where you been, bro? You've been deadlifting in the gym.
I've been
My
deadlifting,
co-host
guys.
is here. My co-host is here.
What is up, guys? Sorry I'm late. I pulled where's Tim Troiano? I was promised Tim Troiano. I'm out of here.
We've already been accused of false advertising earlier.
Yeah, he's in the central standard time zone, just like I am. That's why I wasn't here either. I totally screwed up the math on the time zone. I thought we were starting this at 10:30 my time, not 10:30 Mike's time. So yeah, that's my bad. I had to do my own stream, but I am here. What fight are we on, boys? Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner?
Yeah. Why don't you kick us off, man? I was gonna go, but go on. Why don't you come in with a bang?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun. I mean, the common theme on this fight, man. Like, I like this fight for Jalen Turner, but the money line is super wide. I know Dan Hooker's not been like on the best run recently, but it's been losses to high level guys, and this guy was once, in 5-round wars with, the likes of Dustin Poirier. I still think Jalen Turner finishes him. He represents a guy with like a lot of the physical advantages that Dan Hooker's used to having over the rest of the division. So I like Dan Hooker inside the distance, but I've yet to find a way to really play this that I like from a gambling perspective here. Maybe one of you guys have a better idea of like a prop that I could use to chop down this minus 270 number, but I haven't found one yet.
You meant Turner inside the distance
Turner, yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, if you like Hooker ITD, just play Hooker.
No. I will root for him, though. I'm a big fan of the guy, but I think he's pretty fight-worn at this point.
Yeah, so a prop that you might want to look at, Jalen Turner KO, was, I think, plus 175. Obviously, he's got those big, long, lanky arms, right? And he loves to jump on the guillotine after he hurts someone on the feet. We saw him do it to Brad Riddell. We saw him do it to Uros Medic. So that is a little bit risky, but I think more often than not, it is a KO. I don't know how I'm going to play it myself. So, yeah, the cat's out of the bag. I like Turner as well. Look, I'm always going to be rooting for Dan Hooker. He's obviously an Auckland boy. It's where I live right now. He's CKB. And, I know for a fact that they've been putting in a good game plan. I know for a fact that he's been training very hard. I just think one guy's on an upward trajectory and one guy's on a downward trajectory. I mean, he's been in so many wars, Hooker. He's been knocked out in the first round by Michael Chandler, knocked out in the first round by Arnold Allen. He's been finished by Makachev. That was a terrible fight against a terrible beating he took in that fight and gave in the Poirier fight. So that was a war. His durability is probably not the same as it once was. Edson Barbosa. Remember that Edson Barbosa fight back in the day, man? Even fought Yair Rodriguez as well. He didn't really get hurt that bad, but he lost there. A lot of people don't know that fight. It's like a long lost fight that Yair Rodriguez won. But yeah, I think Turner's he's just at this point too young, too athletic, too youthful, and he hits too hard and too fast. And like Pat said, he's not going to have the reach advantage he usually does. He's going to fight someone that's taller than him. And the most important piece of my capping by far is that Jalen Turner is 4-0 against guys living in Australia or New Zealand. So, I mean, the pattern's just going to continue, right? So for that reason, Jalen Turner should be like minus 1,000. So I am going to pick him. I think he's going to win inside the distance. Probably a KO. I wouldn't be surprised with a submission, like a club and sub. But I think it's going to come from being hurt first. So, yeah, I think he's going to get a knockout, maybe first round, I'd say.
All right, we're going to go in the reverse. Prop, how about you, brother?
Yeah, so I'm on the other side. Been receiving tons of shit all day on the Dan Hooker post. But, I bet his point spread. I bet him plus 3.5 at plus 155 on Bet Online. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like on the feet, this is kind of like a step up for Turner. Like, Hooker's going to be able to, like, make this pretty competitive in the first couple of rounds. Like, I don't really feel like Hooker's chin is gone, man. I mean, Arnold, like, he dropped to 145. Like, I don't know why he dropped to 145, but, like, shots that Arnold Allen was landing him with, like, he didn't even get dropped by any of those shots. Like, he actually dropped Arnold Allen with one of the shots after absorbing, like, 6 shots to the head. So, I don't know, dude. Like, he did get knocked out. Yeah, it was up against the fence. Referee had to stop it. But I don't know, dude. Like, Turner's not going to be fighting as long as he's been able to fight against Riddell, Medic, like all these other guys. Like, Hook, I don't think Hooker's chin is gone, man. Like, and also I like the over 1.5, man. Like, I like the over 1.5 at minus 130 as well. I might be on that as well. I don't think Turner gets Hooker out of there so easy, man. Like, everyone's thinking, oh, well, Jalen Turner's going to go out there and starch him. Like, I don't think so. And it's like, if he doesn't starch him, this guy's never won a decision, man. Like, and Gamrot didn't really strike with him, man. Like, he was just kind of like desperately taking him down. So it was easier for Turner to do more damage on the feet because Gamrot didn't really have a lot of like power in his arms, and especially just to even throw a jab at all in the second and third round. Like, he looked really tired, man. Gamrot looked a little bit off in that performance. I kind of thought, like, his cardio didn't really seem to be there as it was against Shizuki in the 5-round fight, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, Hooker looks like he is living a midlife crisis right now. I mean, going blonde and all these tattoos on his legs, it is scaring me. I mean, someone did comment that that picture on my post. I thought it was pretty funny, but dude, I feel like he's being disrespected here, man. I feel like this line is wide, and if it's on the feet for 15 minutes, like I feel like Turner should like be like minus 150, not minus 250, man. Not minus 250. So I took the point spread plus 3.5. I don't think Turner finishes him, man. I think Hooker might survive some damage, and dude, Turner has that tall striking defense, man. Like 41%. This guy could be hittable as well. He's been knocked out 3 times as well, so I don't really think we should be ruling out Dan Hooker getting him up against the fence and finishing him as well. So Hooker's at his best when he pressures. He's going to be able to keep the reach away. Like, he's only at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So yeah, man, I like Hooker here. I feel like I'm on an island, and I hope he I'm sorry, everyone, but I hope Turner crushes your parlays. I hope it happens because I've been receiving tons of heat.
I hope you're wrong, because I do have him parlayed. It's my only parlay, but one of my favorite things I saw today, I thought it was hilarious. Someone was like, yo, he's got those leg tattoos now. They're fresh. Turner should just spam leg kicks. Never got a tattoo. I don't know how accurate that is, but Turner should try. That would be pretty good. But look, I think you did make a good point, Prop, in that this is probably one of the better strikers that Turner has faced. Brad Riddell's up there too, but Hooker's much longer, and you know, Dan Hooker's used to having the size edge, but so is Turner. And Hooker's not going to be that much smaller. He's definitely going to be one of the bigger opponents that Turner has faced. And like you mentioned, Turner could be pretty hittable, even in the Brock Weaver fight. I don't think that's ever going to leave my mind. He was getting hit way too much by fucking Brock Weaver, of all people. That just was not a good look. Brock Weaver sucks, never belonged in the UFC, and he's a terrible person. So that wasn't a good look. But all that said, he's still young, and he has been improving, in my opinion, every single fight. He's got really good power. I think that in terms of striking, it'll be close, and Hooker will land a lot of shots, but I think that Turner's going to land the much more damaging shots. I think he's going to be more effective. And if either guy wants to wrestle, I think it's going to be Turner who has the success grappling here. If anyone's live for a sub, it's definitely Turner. And we have seen Hooker try to wrestle in the Nasrat Haqparast fight. For some reason, he decided he needed to wrestle there. If he wants to try that, he could. I think it's going to be a really bad move. I don't think he's really going to get takedowns. I thought the takedown defense looked really, really improved in the Gamrot fight. That wasn't an easy fight for Turner. I thought Gamrot would dominate him. And at the end of the fight, I was sweating big time with my Gamrot -2 whatever ticket. So, yeah, I think his takedown defense is there. Not that it's going to matter here too much. And I think he's just way too dangerous. Do I think he gets a finish? Probably. I don't hate your look, though, Prop. Like, if you don't think he gets a finish, then, yeah, Hooker could win a round. It's pretty good. Did you get a plus money, or what was it?
Yeah, I got a plus 155 on it. DraftKings is probably giving a better line as well, but we don't get a point spread on New York and DraftKings, so I had to take it on Bet Online.
Yeah, I mean, if we go to a decision, I would probably bet that Hooker would pick up a round, but I think we might not get there. So for me, it's not a bet for me, but makes some sense.
Mike, what line did you get on Jalen Turner?
Let me tell you. Let me check. Parlayed him with someone we're about to talk about in a second. It's my square parlay of the week. Let's see what I got. I got him at -241.
Okay.
What is he now? -260, -245 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Around there. But all right, we can move on to the next fight. I think a fight that a lot of people are looking forward to, especially Israel Adesanya. We've got Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis. Whittaker, 24-6-0. He's 32 years old, 6 feet tall with a 73.5-inch reach. Du Plessis on the other side, 19-2-0. He's 29. He's going to be 3 years younger, 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. Patrick, why don't you start us off, brother?
Yeah, this is a hilarious fight, dude, just because it's just such a contrast and like opposite attributes of both of these guys, right? Like you've got Dricus Du Plessis, super impressive so far, man. Almost all of his fights ended inside the distance. like 5-0 in the UFC somehow at this point. And he's taking on Robert Whittaker, who's he's a more measured version. He's a guy who paces himself for 3 or 5 round fights, former champion. And Dricus du Plessis is a guy who just lays it all on the line. Fast twitch muscle fiber, explosiveness in round 1. And he could be gassed out by the time it even hits the end of round 1. So, man, it's just, I think Robert Whittaker's got him beat pretty much everywhere in this fight. I think he's going to just have the ability to get in range with his combinations, get back out of range safely the way he does, use the leg kicks well. And the thing that I wonder about is if Whittaker could pick up his first inside the distance finish since Jacare Souza years ago. After talking about this fight a few times, I'm not so sure he risks himself, like exposes himself and is that aggressive to seek the finish. But one prop I am waiting for is Robert Whittaker round 3 or decision. I want to see what that price would be. Is that usually like a FanDuel one or a DraftKings one? Do you guys know?
FanDuel, I think.
It's
FanDuel,
I think it's minus 125 on DraftKings.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys feel about that one? Because I feel like it would be late would be the most opportunity for him to finally just put away Jarikas due to fatigue if we're going that route. But I think the decision is also his most likely path to victory, obviously.
Seems like a really good way down that minus 400. But the only thing for me is after watching Dricus get dropped like that by Brunson in round 1 and 2, like, I don't know if I want
Yeah. Yeah, but Mike, are you there? Oh, there you go. Gotcha. Sorry, you cut out on my side. Hold on.
I can't hear you, Mike. I think it's your microphone. Mike. Okay. Mike's mic.
Am I back?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think I pulled my mic off with my chest. But yeah. you got Robert here, Patrick?
Yeah, Robert Whittaker, most likely by decision, but I'm feeling part of me wants to pick that inside the distance, but I just don't know if he's going to get that reckless and aggressive to chase it,
I feel you. All right. So, yeah, I'm on Bobby Knuckles also. He's the second leg of my parlay, the square parlay of the week. I got him and Turner down. It came out to minus 132. I slapped a unit on it and called it a day. I think he should dominate Dricus from pillar to post, but Dricus has memed his way this far, and I wouldn't be shocked if he kept memeing his way into a title shot against Adesanya. So I don't want to put too much into it. Who knows what that nose surgery is going to do? Now he's working with 100% oxygen, not 7%. But look, I said this on my own stream. That helps with cardio, but I'm not sure how much his nose is going to help with his striking or his technique. And I don't think it's going to change his flurries. I don't think it's going to change much. The way he runs in there, going like this, literally looks like Juliana Pena against Amanda Nunes in the second fight. I think Robert is way too, I don't know why I keep calling him Robert. He's way too clean. He's a really good counter striker, very accurate. He can wrestle if he needs to. I don't think Dricus is going to sub him or be a sub threat from bottom. I can't ever put money on Dricus. I put money on him for the first time against Derek Brunson. I thought for sure, here you go, man. A perfect matchup. Just knock him out clean. And I thought worst case scenario, Brunson out grapples him. And then he almost gets knocked out twice. And I'm just sitting there like, of course, the one time I bet the guy. And he ended up winning, memeing his way to another victory. I don't think it's going to happen here, but I'm also not willing to put too much money against it. So I don't hate what Pat said. The round 3 decision, minus 125, you said prop, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty damn good way to cut this money line down. More likely than not, I really don't see Rob getting that round 1, round 2 knockout. But like I said, after the Brunson fight, I don't even know anymore with this guy Dricus. So I'm going to keep my square parlay, and that's it. How about you, prop?
Yeah, dude, I think Rob's gonna finish him, man. Honestly, like I think Dracus is gonna be live to finish him early. Like if he does some like what he did against Trevin Giles, like. But I mean, dude, I don't think Whittaker's gonna fall for that crap. I mean, as you said, dude, like getting dropped twice against Brunson, I don't think that's a good look at all. And like, dude, like Whittaker, like when you go watch the Cannonier fight, man, like. He was eating tons of leg kicks heavy, like in the first 2 rounds. And in that third round, man, like he came out like a force to be reckoned with, dude. Landed a nasty head kick and then was just landing nasty ground and pound on Cannonier. Like pretty sure Herb Dean was like really close to stopping the fight. And I feel like if that's just Duplessis, man, like he's finishing him, man. Like I don't like the durability of Duplessis, but he does fight very well through his cardio. Like the guy is throwing with 100% power ending intentions on like every single punch he's throwing. He's been going to his wrestling in his last 2 fights. I don't really think the wrestling's gonna be there here. Like I actually bet Vettori against Whittaker, probably like one of my worst money line bets last year, because I thought he was gonna get him down, which like he did get some moments up against the fence, but he didn't do anything with the takedowns. He didn't really commit to them. And it's like, I think he went to 2 of them, but Whittaker was able to stuff them easily. Pretty sure the guy has like 90% takedown defense, if I could be mistaken. So I don't think the takedown defense of Whittaker is really going to be tested here, but on the feet, obviously Duplessis' live guy hits like a truck, but dude, Whittaker's just so much cleaner, man. Like, I feel like the kicks to the body, dude. Like, if he just keeps landing to the body, man, like he's gonna get him out of there in the 2nd and 3rd round. But like the prices on round 2 KO and round 3 KO, they're just disgusting. Like, I like plus 550 on round 2. I don't hate it, but it's like I feel like we should get something better than that. And it's like his KO prop is just plus 125, but I don't know, man. I think he finishes him, but like I feel like the lines are just all over the place on this fight. Like even the over 1.5 is minus 160. And it's like, that's tempting as well. Like even knowing Whittaker could get him out of there in round 2 or round 3, but it's like, it wouldn't shock me if he got him out of there in any round, man. So like, I don't know if I'm going to have a bet on this fight, but my pick is Whittaker by KO.
All right, lucrative. You're going to make us 4 for 4. Or are you on the dog here?
I do want to make a little bit of a case for Dricus just being a decent fighter and having some chance in this fight, because I know a lot of people don't rate Dricus. I understand why. He looks a bit janky, but the guy's 19-2. Other than his loss to Roberto Soldic, which he already knocked him out the fight before. It was the guy won in round 3 in the rematch. Other than that, he hasn't lost in, I think, 10 years, right? He's 19. He's only had 2 losses in his career. He's 5-0, 4-0 in the UFC. Every single fight he's finished except for Brad Tavares, and Brad Tavares for some reason had a crazy chin in that fight. He should have been finished multiple times. So I think he's definitely a good fighter. I know he looks janky, but that often helps him because fighters are not really expecting his next move, so they don't really know how to prepare for him. He's well-rounded, although he's got bad tendencies in all realms of the game. He is also well-rounded in all realms of the game. So I do think he's a good fighter, and I do think he has a chance to knock out Rob in this fight. I honestly do. I think bouncing in and out of range is going to cause Rob some problems because Rob likes to do that himself. Rob has been fighting traditional strikers. You speak about even Israel Adesanya. He's very, very traditional in the way he fights, although he's one of the best strikers. Very traditional kickboxing style, right? He's not going to throw anything crazy. Kelvin Gastelum, he's a in and out boxer, Jared Cannonier, boxer, like very traditional styles. Marvin Vettori, meat and potatoes guy. Duplessis is not meat and potatoes. The guy's going to throw weird strikes from weird positions. He's going to roll on the floor and come up with a Superman punch. The guy's very unpredictable, and I do think that can work in his favor in most fights, as it has done, proven by his career record and in this fight. With that being said, of course, I expect Whittaker to win this fight. He's a level above. He's like the perfect martial artist, Robert Whittaker. He honestly is. He's well-rounded in every single aspect of the game. If I look at Robert Whittaker and say, what is his weakness, I wouldn't really know what to say. I guess some form of grappling, but honestly, he's good in every aspect of the game, and he's developed his style to really, really work for him. He can get offensive takedowns, great takedown defense, and his switch kick, front leg high kick is amazing. Now, I think this fight's going to finish, and I really like this bet. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 135. I bet it myself. I think Dricus has a chance of knocking him out. Like I said, as you said, he's memed his way to this far. There's obviously something to it. I do think he could get a knockout on Rob. That would tee up the Izzy fight perfectly, which they're already trying to make for the Sydney card, which is in September, I believe. September the 10th. I think Izzy's already agreed to fight the winner of this fight. And I think both fighters have also agreed to fight Izzy. So we'll see what happens there. If he doesn't get a knockout on Rob, I do think he's going to gas out like every single fight. And Rob has been fighting the best of the best of the best. I know everyone thinks, oh, Rob, he hasn't got a finish in a long time. Rob's not really a finisher. Go back and look at Robert Whittaker's record. I've got it up here, right? So the last fighter he fought was Marvin Vettori. We know who Marvin Vettori is. He's one of the most durable guys in UFC middleweight history. And then the last time, the fight before that was Israel Adesanya. We don't include him because he lost that fight. He's never going to finish Adesanya. Adesanya is a level above him. Kelvin Gastelum, another one of the most durable fighters in middleweight history. Insane chin. We all saw his 5-round beatdown against Israel Adesanya. Even Curtis was tagging him. The fight before that, Jared Cannonier, another very tough guy. Jared Cannonier is not easy to finish. You know what I mean? And then we're talking about Darren Till. That fight, and by the way, in every single one of those fights that I've just mentioned, he hurt the other guy. Marvin Vettori, he had him hurt. Lead leg high kick. Kelvin Gastelum, he had him wobbly, bad. Couldn't finish him. Jared Cannonier, he had him hurt as well. Couldn't finish him. So he's hurting all of these guys. It's just he's not finishing them because they're so tough. Now, when it comes to DDP, I don't think he's as tough, man. I think once Whittaker gets his range, I think he's probably going to end up finishing him. If he doesn't, I do think DDP is going to finish him. And, you know, Dricus du Plessis under 2.5 rounds is a moneymaker. If you go look at his career, I think he's been to decision once in his whole career. And he's been over 2.5 rounds either once or, well, either twice or 3 times, including that decision. And the decision, it should have went under. The other time he went over was against Darren Till. I bet the under there. And that should have went under. I should have finished him in the first round. Almost got finished himself in the second. He was tired. And then he finished it in the third round, just 1 minute too late for my bet. So the guy causes chaos. And I know Whittaker's more of a decision guy, but I think this fight finishes. I think Whittaker gets a finish. Well, we'll see how it goes.
You got minus 135 lucrative?
Yeah.
That's sick. It's minus 160 now. Now it's like, I don't know. Would you still play that, you think?
I really think this fight's going to finish. I'd probably line it about minus 200 myself. So, yeah, maybe I would play it.
Okay. Well, all right. We can move on to our co-main event. I'm super hyped for this fight. We've got Brandon Moreno versus Alexander Pantoja, the third fight. I'm surprised they're marking it as the third one because they don't normally count Ultimate Fighter fights, but I guess it's good for marketing. Moreno, 21, 6-2. He's 29 years old. 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. Pantoja, 25, 5-0. 33, he's 4 years older, 2 inches shorter, 2-inch reach disadvantage. And Pat, why don't you start us off? Catch you up a little bit.
Yeah, this is a very fun fight, like you said, man. The flyweight division for these championship fights is always so volatile. It's a lot of fun, and just looking at the money line by nature of that, I mean, I think it could be a little bit closer, but I still favor Moreno to win this fight. I really do highly value his 5-round experience in this one, but it's an unknown. You know, Pantoja could come in here and you know, maybe you look fine in the championship rounds. We know that Moreno has made a lot of improvement since his early 20s when Pantoja, you know, just kicked his ass, you know, quite frankly, in both the Ultimate Fighter and, you know, in the UFC in their fight there back in like 2018 at this point. So it's been some years, and think of all the fights that Moreno's had, how good his striking looks now. I think he would win a striking battle against Pantoja if it stayed there. But the way I see this fight most likely is Pantoja having the best work done early in rounds 1 and rounds 2, possibly getting that submission, you know, if he's having a good night, but at least getting control for those rounds. And then I think Moreno will take over and build into the fight like he normally does. And Pantoja has been known to fade after he has that heavy grappling early. So, I mean, where the money line is now, I don't like it too much. But if I want to bet Moreno, I'm hoping that I can get Pantoja getting like his back for a whole round. And then I live bet Moreno after round 1, getting closer to like, you know, a minus 150 to even money on Moreno after round 1. Like if best case scenario, that's how I would play this one. But for now, not betting this fight, but I do pick Moreno to win, probably by decision.
Yeah, on the other side. I'm with Pantoja here. I played him at plus 145. Now the line's even better, plus 165. Money's finally coming back in on him. I understand the 5-round experience thing, and I think that's like the main thing that Moreno's got over him. That's definitely going to be a big unknown. We don't know what Pantoja is going to look like in round 4 or round 5. Personally, I think he's going to be all right. I have to think that he's training for this. I have to think that he's going to come in shape. And I really like the guy. I really like the work he does. I like his striking. He's he can get a little wild, a little bit hooky with his strikes. So Moreno, you know, he'll probably throw more straight. He might land a little bit more. But I think Pantoja is going to land harder. I think if anyone's going to get a knockout, it'll probably be Pantoja. I think he could hurt Moreno. And the grappling, look, the wrestling, can he take him down? I personally think he can. I saw LSV saying here that Makayev doesn't think so. I think he will. And on the ground, man, I think Pantoja is disgusting. He's so good on the ground. Like the stuff he does against Royval, when they hit the ground, you saw Royval immediately start scrambling. And normally Brandon Royval can scramble out of anything. And Pantoja adjusted beautifully. And he just moved across him, stayed on top. And I just thought it was really good. I think that the ground game is going to go to Pantoja here. I think the power goes to Pantoja. I'll give the striking, I guess, to Moreno, and I'll give him the cardio. I do think it's a good thing that I just saw today. Moreno's training with Mikey Buscemi, I think his name is. Really, really good jiu-jitsu guy. I've only seen him compete once. I don't watch jiu-jitsu all that much, but he's really good. People say that he's really, really good. So it's a good look. Definitely smart of him to be training the ground game because, like I said, I think that's where Pantoja really has the edge. Moreno's jiu-jitsu is also good. Like, I'm not counting that out at all. His jiu-jitsu is good. He's never been submitted. He's good with it defensively as well. But I think Pantoja, he's just really good there. So for me, I think the finishing equity is on Pantoja. He's the underdog. He's already got 2 wins over him. I know a lot of people are saying, so much time has passed since 2018. Moreno's improved a lot. And I agree. A lot of time has passed. That's a fact. And he has improved. But I think Pantoja's also been getting better. I saw some people disagreeing with that. Hey, we can all disagree. I think he's getting better. Maybe not at the same pace, but it's also worth mentioning Moreno's fought the same guy 4 times in this time span. Like 4 of those fights were all Divas and Figueroa. So I don't know. I don't know how much you can put into that. I think Pantoja will win. I think he's going to find the finish personally. And for me, just 1 unit on the plus 140. I thought that was a good spot. How about you, Prop?
Yeah, so I bet the fight to end by submission at plus 330 on FanDuel. I just put 0.40 units on it. I feel like both guys actually are gonna have really good shots to get a submission here. Like I saw you I think you played a Pantoja submission, right?
Forgot about that. I took Pantoja by sub plus 500 for 0.2.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a little shocked that like the Moreno subs being ruled out. Like I understand that like Pantoja's like submission game on the ground is like really high level, but it's like, dude, Moreno has high level ground game as well, as you said. And like as you said, man, he's been working on his jiu-jitsu heavy for this camp, and he makes really good reads on the ground as well. Like even like in I think it was the third fight between Figueiredo and Moreno, like Figueiredo was able to get him down really early and like almost was like able to take the back like in like the first minute of that round in the first round of that fight. And it's like if Pantoja was able to get him in that same position, dude, he's riding out the back for that whole entire first round and threatening him with submissions. And like even at the end of the Manel Kopp fight, like Manel Kopp was able to get him down in like the last minute of the fight, was able to get him up against the fence. And like, even if like we're going into the 4th and 5th round, it's like, dude, Moreno's going to be able to get him down. He's going to have a cardio advantage, and Pantoja slows down. And it's like, Moreno's been going to his wrestling more recently. Like he even took down Figueiredo in the first 40 seconds of the last fight and had him in a bad spot. But I know Figueiredo has great sprawls. So does Pantoja, but dude, I feel like there's going to be a lot of sprawls. I honestly feel like 70 to 75% of this fight is going to take place in the grappling. I feel like if it's going to be Moreno wanting to have this fight more on the feet, as you said, Pantoja does get a little heavy on the feet, and it's like he was in some spots against Royval as well. Like Royval had him had his back, like he was threatening him as well, and it's like I feel like if he's in that position with Moreno can capitalize. Like both guys are really slick on the ground, man. Like one little mistake and with all these sprawls and how tired they are, I just feel like it's live, man. So I played fight to end by submission at plus 330, but I'm picking Moreno to win this fight. And dude, I might sprinkle Moreno sub 345 on FanDuel. I think it's plus 2,800 because that's when I think he can submit Pantoja, dude. When he's tired, when all the sprawls are happening, 5-round fight, like pressure's on him now, dude. He's been wanting this fight. He showcased a performance against Alex Perez, and I think I don't really rate Alex Perez that high, and my stupid ass bet Alex Perez in that fight. So yeah, but like fight them by submission here. I'm pretty passionate about it. I think any guy can get it, and I just think plus 330 is a little bit ludicrous.
That 345 sub on Moreno, you said plus 2,800. That seems pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But how about you, Lucrative? What you thinking here?
Yeah, this is a great fight. Also a weird fight because obviously they fought twice before, and the guy who's 2-0 against him is a fairly significant underdog. You don't see that too often. I know it was a long time ago, but there is some psychological advantage for Pantoja going into this fight, already being 2-0 against the guy. And not only is he 2-0 against him, but he's beaten him in a multitude of ways. So it's not like they've been razor close decisions each time, and now Moreno's 5 years better, more experienced, and leveled up his game. No, he got submitted, finished, which I think may have been one of the only finished losses of Brandon Moreno's career. I think it was the only submission loss of his career. I know it wasn't an official loss because it was on tough, but it was the only time he's been submitted, which is, a mental thing. Like, this is the only guy to ever submit me over 30 fights or whatever it is. And he 30-26'd him, so he dominated him via decision, like a completely dominant decision. So it's not like he's squeaking out these fights. And I do think that Pantoja has a good shot to win this fight, I must say, man. The only thing, I think the biggest difference here is obviously the 5-round experience for Moreno, but the cardio advantage. I do think that Moreno has a big cardio advantage. But there's even some form of, I'm not 100% sure in that regard, because if we look at when Pantoja has got tired, it's mainly, what I've realized is that it's mainly in fights where there's heavy wrestling pace. So he really, really gassed out against Royval, although he still got a finish in that fight. And that was a scramble heavy fight. There was takedowns. It was a very high-paced fight, like all Royval fights. He did gas out, but he still got the submission. The other fight was the Askarov fight. Gassed out badly in that fight because he was getting grappled a lot, right? If you look at the Davison-Figueiredo fight or the Manel-Cape fight, both fights were fairly high-paced. There was only striking fights for the most part. I think Pantoja shot a couple of times on both fighters, but couldn't get Figueiredo down. I think he got Cape down once or twice. But they were basically striking fights. And he went a hard 3 rounds, and he was coming on late in all of those fights. So it seems like the wrestling tires him out a lot. Now, with Brandon Moreno, he doesn't really shoot. Like he does, he shoots every now and then, but not really. He's a striker, right? He will shoot, but I don't think he's going to be shooting that much against someone who's already submitted him. So if this is a 5-round striking fight on the Brandon Moreno side, I have a lot more faith in Pantoja's cardio. And I think that the line is where it is because of the cardio dynamic. I really do believe that. I think that's a big reason why Brandon Moreno is a big favorite. Obviously, because what he's done to Figgy and stuff, but I do think cardio is baked into the line. So with all that being said, I think that there's some value on Pantoja, and I will be playing him myself. I saw he went up. He was getting, so I was like, I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to wait. I think he was 175. I woke up this morning, he was like 165. So I'm like, okay, so there's been money coming back on him. So I'm probably going to pounce now. After this podcast, I'll probably play Pantoja at like plus 165. I think this fight should be fairly close to a pick'em, but we'll see. I do understand that Pantoja could completely break down in rounds 4 and round 5. I do understand that is a possibility, but I'm not 100% sold on it to keep me off a plus 160. So we'll see.
All right, Pat, you went, right?
Yeah, I'm the dissenting voice. I'm on Moreno, but I can see totally what you guys are saying. I think that the value is certainly on Pantoja here at this point. I don't think he's past his prime at flyweight by any means. And I'm looking to live bet Moreno. If it looks like he's using a lot of energy, Pantoja, with his grappling early. So that's how I'm attacking this. But totally see your guys' point and reasoning.
I feel like this is definitely a really good spot for a live bet, especially if you don't think the cardio might be there. Right. But we can move on to our main event. I'm super hyped for this fight. I think everybody is. We've got Alexander Volkanovski defending against Yair Rodriguez. Volk is 25-2-0. He's 34 years old, 5'6" with a 72-inch reach. Rodriguez 15-3-0. He's going to be 4 years younger at 30. 5'11". He's 5 inches taller, same reach. And yeah, Prop, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so I bet a unit on the fight doesn't go at plus 124 on FanDuel. I don't know what the line is at now. I'm pretty sure it's like close to pick'em odds now, but yeah, I really like the spot. What really kind of caught my eye about this line is like the Max Holloway fight. Like Max Holloway was able to get him down in the second and third round, just like kind of like was able to just land tons of ground and pound. And it's like Volkanovski easily like best ground and pound in the featherweight division. Guy hits like a truck. I mean, look what he did to the Korean Zombie. The Ortega fight should have been called. I don't know what the hell Herb Dean was doing. I mean, he let Ortega like basically just take way too much damage. And honestly, since after that fight, like Ortega's just been having some pretty bad luck. So, yeah, I like violence here. I mean, Rodriguez definitely brings tons of violence. I think he's gonna land lots of body kicks. He's gonna try to throw lots of leg kicks, but Volkanovski's really good at checking them. Love how Volkanovski throws the jab and then follows it with the inside leg kick and then just like still circles the cage, pressures. Like I thought the Makhachev fight, like he was able to hurt Makhachev in the first round. I'm pretty sure knocked him down in the second, and we know he notoriously knocked him down in the fifth round, like almost actually getting the fight for him as well. But yeah, dude, this is a great fight, man. I feel like for Rodriguez, like he might be in a little trouble here. Like he's definitely going to be at a power disadvantage. Like he can eat shots. He does have a chin, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like Volkanovski, man, like the damage is going to add up. Like Yair doesn't really like, he moves his head. He relies on his head movement a lot. He doesn't really have a high guard, and the shots are going to add up, and both guys are going to bring the power. They're going to bring the intensity. The pressure is going to be there from both guys. So I even like the under 4.5 now. It's -110. I kind of just feel like that line's a little off as well. And I was on the under. I think I was on the under 3.5. I think I bet it alternate in the last fight against Josh Emmett, and that cashed pretty easy. So yeah, I'm going back to the bread and butter here and choosing violence. But I think Volkanovski gets him out of there in the third round, and I like his 3-4-5 KO at plus 850 on FanDuel as well.
That's a pretty good line on the violence. Before we move on, by the way, this is true. Pantoja's plus 180 on Bet Online right now, which is getting crazy. But for this fight, what are you thinking, Lucrative?
This is a great fight. I know Volkanovski's like one of my favorite fighters ever. Maybe my favorite fighter ever, especially who's currently fighting right now. I love Volk. I bet him in almost every single fight. I always bet on Volkanovski. But bet him against Islam Makhachev. That one was like it's like Peter Yan, you know, when he raised his hand, even though he lost against Aljamain Sterling. I kind of felt like that after that fight because I don't think Islam looked like a -400. Whether he won the fight or not, I feel like that was a good bet. And everyone was calling me an insane for going against Islam. And obviously, you know, I like that fight. It was a great fight. One of my favorite fights to watch. In this fight, though, he's coming up against a massive stylistic difference from any of his other previous fights. You know, it's not hard to train for Yair Rodriguez. I mean, Islam Makhachev, he's not that hard to train for. I mean, obviously, he's one of the best fighters in the division, but we know what he's going to do. He's pretty basic. He stays on the outside, and when he's either in or he's all the way out. And when he's in, he sticks to you like glue. And we saw Volk had Craig Jones in his corner. Volk had training with Craig Jones. Volk knew what to do in that fight, and it showed, right? But I know for a fact that in this fight, Volkanovski's team are saying that this is the hardest stylistic matchup than Islam Makhachev. And I agree. I mean, Yair Rodriguez is going to throw insane kicks. And not only has he got really good kicking game, he's got a very active, dangerous guard as well. So if you take him down, which you probably need to do to beat him, because that is his deficiency, it is the wrestling, it is the ground game. We saw what Frankie Edgar did to him a while back. He can be taken down fairly easily, and he can be punished from top position. But he's actually adapted his guard quite well over recent years. I think his guard's a lot more dangerous than it once was. So, you know, if you jump in his guard when you take him down, then he's going to throw up arm bars and stuff. He's got long legs, and he's very flexible, as we know in the striking. He's definitely flexible with those legs in guard as well. So he's a hard stylistic matchup to prepare for. But I have to say that Volkanovski is going to come here with the best game plan we've ever seen. I mean, his game plan is unbelievable in every single fight. I think his fight IQ and his game planning are probably what separates him from everyone else. You know, skill set for skill set, he's elite. But at the top level of competition, it's often fight IQ, the mental side of fighting, and the game planning, which is what really separates fighters from fighters, you know, because everybody has an amazing skill set. I think he's going to come in here with a good game plan. I think he will get takedowns. I do think there's value on Yair Rodriguez at plus 300. I have to say, I think there's value on inside the distance with Yair. It hurts me to say it, man. Volk's my favorite fighter, but he can be hurt. He can be dropped. He got dropped basically to one knee, or wobbled, whatever you want to call it, once or twice by Islam Makhachev. He got dropped by Chad Mendes. He's been dropped by Max Holloway. I mean, the guy chin does get touched. I don't think he's invincible there. I just think he's extremely tough and great recoverability with his cardio and his mindset. So I do think there's going to be chances for him to get finished in this fight. I honestly do. If he doesn't get finished, I think he's going to pull away late. I really do. Like Propaholic said, I think that 3rd round, the 4th round, 5th if he gets there. I think at this point, the fight IQ is going to separate them. As I mentioned, I think Volkanovski is just a level above in terms of adaptation in the fight. Yair Rodriguez, I haven't seen him adapt too much in the fight. You can say the adaptation for the up elbow against Korean Zombie, but it's not really an adaptation. I mean, it's just a trick that he had in his toolbox. In terms of changing the game plan and going to different tactics in fight, Volkanovski is the best I've ever seen, literally. So I think Volkanovski's going to pull away, probably finish him late if he doesn't get the finish early or if he doesn't get finished early. So for that reason, I do like the under 4-5 at evens or fight doesn't go to decision because we might get one of those Yair Rodriguez zombie ones again at -120. Maybe you want to lay that a little bit more. But I think for me, I'm probably going to play the ends inside the distance in some form, and I'm going to play some form of Yair, either Yair money line or Yair inside the distance. But I will predict Volkanovski to get a 3rd or 4th round ground and pound.
All right. How about you, Pat?
Yeah, man, it seems like we're all going in the same line of just adding on to the last person's explanation here, but we're on the same side. I totally agree with what has been said so far. I like the late round sprinkles for Volkanovski to finish the fight here. And what Luker has said is so true. It's like the intangibles, the fight game planning, not only like for the opponent, but mid-fight. And not only that, but like when things go wrong, like he got caught in the worst possible submissions from Brian Ortega. Mounted guillotine, head turning purple. He managed to pop out of that, fall right into a triangle choke, get out of that, and still continue to dominate the fight and not give up on himself. There's been spots even with Max Holloway, who's one of the best cardio monsters, highest volume strikers, and even in their closest fight, back in 2020, it was the later rounds of the fight were the best rounds for Volkanovski. So I like him to, just keep on doing what he does, man. He's in his prime. I think that loss by split decision, great bet, by the way, for lucrative there on the underdog. I think he only gets his stock increased at featherweight based on that performance. So coming back here against Yair, yeah, it's going to be dangerous at striking range. But Volkanovski, I think his boxing is just on a different level. His feints, his leg kicks, I think, are deadly as well. And then switching to a wrestling game plan, as the fight wears on, I think will be a lot less dangerous of the guard in 4-5 and, the later parts of the fight. So I took 0.15 units sprinkles on the round 3, round 4, and round 5 props for Volkanovski. And I took him at +160 inside the distance.
All right. I like it. So, yeah, I played Yair by knockout. That's the way I decided to approach it. I got it at +650 on, what was it? Bet Rivers, Unibet, same thing. And I just feel like it's so live. I think he's really live. I think, like Lucrative said, his kicks, super good, super unpredictable. It's hard to prepare for. And I'm not usually like a big guy on kickers. I don't like backing people who only use kicks, but he doesn't only use kicks. His hands are also really good, in my opinion, especially recently. He's looked really crisp. Everything's nice and straight. He's got good power behind it. And the size is going to be a big thing here. I know that Max is a similar size, but it's just a completely different matchup. The frames are very different. And I just think that the size here is going to be relevant. It is going to make a difference. Like you guys mentioned, I think the clearest path here for Volk is to wrestle. I mean, Max Holloway looked D1 against Yair when it came to the wrestling. He got it whenever he wanted to. So obviously that'll be a path. And Yair's active off the ground. He's got a decent sub game. I personally don't think he's going to get it done on the ground. So that's why I played the knockout. I think at some point he could catch Volk. I see a lot of people saying, why don't you just do round 1, 2, or 3 knockouts then? Because it's MMA and you never know. And he can catch him at any point. He can catch him slipping. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be just a corpse in round 5. He could be. Volk is probably going to put a beating on him, but I think he'll be live until the fight's over. So I just took that knockout prop for 0.2 units to bring back 1.3. And I don't know if I'm going to do anything else. I'm considering the fight doesn't go. I feel like it's a pretty good spot. Something's keeping me back, but we'll see. I might end up getting there too with you guys.
What did you get on a knockout?
+650.
Yeah, that's not bad.
On Bet Rivers. It's like +500 everywhere else. I figured it was a good spot.
Something I wanted to mention as well, I forgot to mention in my breakdown. Volkanovski's moving back from 155 back to 145. I'm not going to say that he's not going to make the weight or look good, but that is something of note. First time in his career since he's dropped to 145 that he's moved up in weight. Now he has to come down. We never know how that can affect him. So,
yeah, it's an interesting point. I didn't even think of that one.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, that's a card. That's 14 fights. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you to everybody here, to Patrick pulling up even right after his show.
Yeah, my mistake, you guys. I wish I would have been here for the full thing. I'm going to go back and rewatch your guys' thoughts in the beginning for sure, though.
It's all right. A lot of us had time issues this week. I mean, Tim was only coming on because I messed up the time too for my own show. So it's all good. But yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us for 14 fights. I'm really hyped for this card. I'll pass the mic around to everybody and then we'll hop on out. So for myself, I put out a video today, just me breaking down the card. I'm going to put out my shorts tomorrow. It's 1 minute breakdowns for each fight. Me and Prop will be going live tomorrow at 6 p.m., I believe, Eastern time on Twitter Spaces to talk about the card from a prop perspective. And that's all I'm going to do this week. There's a PFL card. I've got one bet down. I'm going to have more down probably, but I don't think I'm going to have the time for a video. Maybe I'll squeak something out, but if it happens, it'll be a surprise. But all right, so thank you all again. Prop, thanks for coming on. Why don't you plug yourself and keep it moving?
Yeah, thank you for having me on, man. It was an honor doing a show with you guys, and make sure to check us out on Prop Talk tomorrow on Twitter at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm hyped for this card, man. It's pay-per-view weekend. I think every single fight's gonna deliver, and let's appreciate this card because next week is a shit show. So thank you for having me on, and as always, let's make some money, guys.
You're not hyped for Holly Holm, Myra Buena Silva, man? What are you, casual?
I guess I am.
Lucrative. Thank you, brother, for coming on. What you got going on this week?
Yeah, man, had good fun. Thanks to you for inviting me on, bro, and thanks to the viewers. Shout out to the viewers. If there was no viewers, there would be no channel. This has been a good card, man. You can go to lucrativemmabetting.com if you want my picks. I also give out free picks. If you go to that website, you can click free tips, put your email address in, and I'll send out free picks. Or you can just listen to my breakdowns like this one, where I give out basically my picks on every single fight. So we'll see if we can make money this weekend. I'm super excited for the card, man. But yeah, shout out to you for having me on again, bro. I appreciate it.
Of course, brother. And last but not least, my co-host, Pat, what you got going on this week? I know you had the stream today.
Yeah, the stream's going to release my best bets and props, my short form video on my channel, which is Addicted to Combat. And I see LSV Bet Machine in the chat, man, making me feel good about the heavyweight physique. If I work hard, maybe I'll look like Josh Parisian next week, who we get a chance to see compete. So, that's hilarious, dude. Yeah, you can look pretty when you don't have to focus on punching and wrestling, like the rest of these guys do. But man, it's been a pleasure talking fights with you guys as always, man. I can't wait to go back and see what you guys have to say for the first few fights in the prelims. But thanks you guys for coming out, and thanks all the viewers for sticking with us as well. Happy fight week, everybody.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you guys all again. Good luck this weekend and peace out.